Hey, hi, and hello friends. How's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today I have for you guys 25 fragrances, both niche and designer, that if you own these, you would have an insane, just amazing collection for cool weather. So whether we're talking fall, winter, or if you live like really far up north, I don't know, also spring, these will have you just smelling absolutely fantastic, better than everybody else. Now, realistically, do you need to own 25 fragrances for cool weather? No, of course not. I mean, if you wanted to, if it makes you happy, go for it, but do you need to? No, of course not. But as I said, each one of these absolutely amazing for cool weather, so you could just pick whichever ones are interesting to you and still have an amazing collection. All of these linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. And I guess like just a real quick talking about my fragrances. Here they are back here. Jet Black Enigma and West Loop, these two fragrances right here. I creatively directed those, and I think that both of those are just spot on for cool weather. Jet Black Enigma is a little more of like a traditional cooler weather fragrance, you know, a little bit darker, spicier, woodier. And then West Loop is more like a sweet, kind of unique play on what's very popular right now. Really big compliment puller of the two. I think if you're just after compliments, West Loop probably would work better. But those two, you can find those in every Perfumania, every fragrance outlet store in the United States, or linked in the description of Michael Mull's website, so check those out also. All right, let's get into it. 25 fragrances, let's go. In no particular order, so it's not like the first one is the best or the worst or anything like that. Okay, we're gonna kick it off with Uomo Signature from Salvatore Ferragamo. This one from discounters, not that expensive. Has a really nice roast coffee note to it, kind of a tiramisu sweetness to it as well. It's a little bit bolder, a little richer and heavier than the original Ferragamo Uomo, and overall I think if it's really cold outside, this one is a better choice. This is also going to be a really nice kind of under the radar compliment puller. Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo and this one Uomo Signature have both always worked well for me in pulling positive attention. Part of that is because it's sweet and also has good performance, so you know people are going to notice it, but it is not a fragrance that people typically think of when they think about compliment pulling fragrances, and it's also not as common as all the other very popular fragrances out there, so it gives you something a little bit unique compared to what most people are wearing. So Uomo Signature starting it off strong. A classic one up next, Tom Ford's Oud Wood. This one you can wear just about anywhere when it's cool outside, whether we're talking a formal event, to the office, you know, to work in general, casually, whatever. It is a little pricey because it's a Tom Ford, but it's worth it. And this fragrance has inspired countless others out there, whether we're talking cologne fragrances, designer fragrances, other niche fragrances. When this came out, it kind of set the mold for what a very wearable, classy, sexy oud fragrance smells like. It's also an easy fragrance to be introduced to oud with because it doesn't have, you know, that kind of fecal barnyard oudy smell that some oud fragrances can have. Next up, we have Rochas Eau de Parfum. This one you can typically find at discounters for a pretty good price, not too expensive. Used to be hard to find. Used to be it was always sold out because everybody wanted it, but thankfully it's become a little easier to pick up nowadays. So this one smells similar to Yves Saint Laurent's Tuxedo, kind of in that style. Tuxedo much more expensive than this one. And there are clones of Tuxedo now that you can find pretty easily, but this one I think is what I would recommend to most people. It has really nice quality for a good price point. It's not the exact same as Tuxedo, but it's in that style. So it's another one that's very sexy, classy, warm, spicy, a little bit sweet, really easy to wear. And another one that people in the know about, but your average person does not. So again, it gives you something a little more unique to wear. Gonna throw it back with this one, the one Oda Parfum Dolce & Gabbana. This is one of the best date night designer fragrances that has ever been made, hands down, period. Like, I don't care what anybody says, this is one of the best date night fragrances ever. The performance is so-so, and it's not amazing, but it does have a really alluring scent profile to it. You know, it's really super sexy, and when people catch a whiff of it, they kind of lean in, you know, try to get a little more, and that is what makes it so good for date night. I would recommend the Eau de Parfum over the Eau de Toilette version. The Eau de Toilette is a little bit cheaper, and it's the one that kicked off the whole line, and it still smells great as well. But this one, it's once again, you know, kind of like Womo's signature over here. A little bit richer, a little bit bolder, a little bit louder, which with this not having great performance, that little extra push does help compared to the EDT. So I'd go with the Eau de Parfum, and the one EDP I think still is an amazing scent. After that, Lattafa's CRA Kaa. This is a new clone kind of twist on Angel Share by Kilian's Angel Share. Of course, the original CRA is the #1 Angel Share clone. It's the one that most people go after. This smells very similar to CRA, but it has an added twist by putting coffee in there. So yeah, we've got 2 fragrances with coffee in the first 5 here. I promise they're not all coffee scents. But if you're familiar with CRA or familiar with Angel Share, then when you spray this on, you'll right away pick up the similarities there. That sweetness is here, great performance, amazing projection for this one off my skin. The coffee, it kind of lingers. You'll catch whiffs of it here and there, so at times when you smell this, you'll think, oh, that's pretty much like CRA, like really, really close, or again, Angel Share. And then other times you'll catch a whiff of it and you'll get a lot of that coffee and you'll be like, oh, there it is, there's the difference. And like Angel Share and CRA, big compliment puller. From there, Spice Bomb Extreme by Viktor and Rolf. This one really well known for having massive performance. Just projects like a beast, lasts forever. It dials down the spice a little bit off the top compared to the original Spice Bomb, which if you've never smelled the two, you'd be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. This is Spice Bomb Extreme, right? It should have more spice. But to me, that actually improves it because it balances the fragrance a little bit more. You've got black vanilla in here, which adds a nice sweetness to the fragrance. And overall, it's, to me, actually a little bit easier to wear than the original Spice Bomb, which the original Spice Bomb still is great, and that would be a really nice choice for cool weather. Also, if you wanted something a little bit more modern with the way the sweetness comes across, you would go with probably Spice Bomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. That one is a little more like youthful to me, a little more candied in a way. This one is slightly more serious than that one, but still a big people pleaser. After that, Gentleman Eau de Parfum from Givenchy. This is an iris-based fragrance, and the iris does come across with that kind of makeup-y, lipsticky feel to it. So for some people, that's gonna work extremely well. For other people, that's gonna turn them off and just not be the style of fragrance that they're looking for. That is sometimes a bit of an acquired taste. Really nice darkness to this one, where it has kind of a mysterious edge, you know, like a bit of a resinous sweetness underneath. Very elegant, very sophisticated, great for an evening out. Gentleman Eau de Parfum is a fantastic scent, and in general, this line is very good. After that, we have Costume National Homme Parfum. This is another one, like a couple of the ones we've talked about here, that most people are not going to be aware of, and it just smells absolutely stunning. Cinnamon, cardamom, citrus off the top here. It's got this fantastic kind of combination of reduced fruits, like when you have fruits that you're kind of reducing in a pan, like maybe making a sauce or something like that. Comes across a little bit like that. The spices in here, very warm, extremely pleasant. This one would be just a killer kind of holiday fragrance, you know, around Thanksgiving through Christmas, or late November through New Year's. Would be a really good scent for that time. Then as it dries down, it has very smooth sandalwood and labdanum in there. Another one with very good performance also. So even though this is not extremely well known outside of the fragrance world, this is something you gotta get your nose on if at all possible. We'll go Montal up next with Honey Oud. Montal, pretty affordable from discounters. Typically you can pick these up for under $100 pretty easily. And I own 25 from Montal, which sounds like a ton. But then when you actually look at how many fragrances Montal has, 25 is like a little tiny dent. But it does give me a pretty good idea of the house, and I have sampled a bunch of other ones that I don't own. Honey Oud is my favorite. Montal ouds have a very particular scent profile typically. Kind of a scratchy oud sometimes, you know, it's very strong. Montal fragrances are known for being massive performers. Most of their fragrances you wouldn't want to wear in summer It has, of course, honey in there, hence the name, and that really helps to make the fragrance a little bit smoother, a little sweeter, more palatable. So you still get that menthol oudiness in there, which can help lead you into other menthol fragrances if you really like this one, but it still is fairly easy to pull off, at least as easy as a really strong oud-based fragrance can be. From there, we go to Dior with Fahrenheit Le Parfum. I love Fahrenheit Le Parfum. It has a little touch of that petrol, you know, kind of feel from the original Fahrenheit gasoline, which I know that doesn't sound good to a lot of people, but it actually smells really super addictive. So this has a little bit of that petrol vibe, but not too much. And it has a nice rum note in there, kind of a booziness that gives you an additional richness to the scent. It does sweeten it up once again, which makes it more wearable. It's another one that's more suited for evening wear, a classy type of scent, but extremely, extremely well done. This stuff smells like $1 million. From there, we go to Herod from Parfums de Marly. I thought about putting Leighton in here also, but I didn't want to put, you know, a whole bunch of fragrances from the same house, so going with Herod on this one. This is one of the absolute best wearable tobacco scents on the market. The quality is high, the compliment factor is high, the performance is high, the quality is high, everything that you want in a tobacco fragrance, this has. So you have vanilla in here, you've got cinnamon, of course, tobacco, osmanthus, among a bunch of other notes. For a long time, I kind of lumped this in with Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford, but side by side, they're not that close. I mean, if you like one, you'll probably like the other, but Tobacco Vanille is a much sweeter fragrance overall. This one comes across much more masculine. Love, love, love Herod, one of the absolute best from Parfums de Marly, and when it's cold outside, this one is always a winner. Next up, we're gonna show some love to Drakkar Intense. Yeah, not Drakkar Noir, which is right up here. I love Drakkar Noir, but we're going Drakkar Intense here. Still has the same, frankly, pretty crappy atomizer and cap as Drakkar Noir. Yeah, you gotta keep it real. So Drakkar Intense does have a bit of that Drakkar Noir feel to it, a little bit of that vibe, that throwback masculine feel, but it also has a really nice warmth to it, and almost like, at times, a cinnamon sort of sweetness to it, little sweet spice. Not an official note in here, but at times you can pick up something that's kind of like that. Also get a good amount of lavender in here, and this one is super cheap. So really enjoy that. You know, low price for a good fragrance, I'll take that every day. Another Dior up next, Sauvage Elixir. Don't gotta say too much about that one, and that also has kind of a throwback feel to it. Obviously, this is much more expensive than that, and they don't smell super close or anything like that. This one is much spicier, woodier, and stronger as well. Sauvage Elixir, great performance. This one, you only need a few sprays. It's gonna last all day, easily cut through the cold. I love Sauvage Elixir because it does have, like I said, that throwback feel to it, but done in a modern way, which makes it very wearable for just about everybody. After that one, Stronger With You, absolutely. Problem with this one is that it can be hard to find. At discounters, this sells out pretty often, and because there is that demand for it, the price is not low. At discounters, it isn't. So it has that Stronger With You DNA. It's very clearly a Stronger With You fragrance. If you've smelled any of the Stronger With Yous, you know what I'm talking about. And this one has an additional boozy note added, which is something I really dig, like back here with Fahrenheit Le Parfum. This style of fragrance right now, if you are looking for something that lasts a long time and pulls a lot of compliments, something in this style would absolutely be worth owning. You don't have to own all of them, because there are a lot of fragrances that are Stronger With You-esque, but finding the one that works for you and putting that in your rotation is always gonna be a good idea. After that, Man in Black from Bulgari. Now this has similarities to Spice Bomb. It does smell decently close to that. So again, if you're familiar with Spice Bomb, you've never smelled this, when you spray this on, you will get the similarity. It's unmistakable. But for a lot of people, myself included, I think that Man in Black is actually overall the superior fragrance to the original Spice Bomb. This one has a boatload of notes in it. It's got just about everything in there. It's got like tobacco, leather, boozy notes, spice, like everything you could think of. It's another one of those scents that, you know, just about any time when it's cold outside, that stuff is gonna work. Especially on a date or an evening out, That stuff is killer. Invictus Victory up next. Invictus Victory Elixir also fantastic, and I think overall I prefer Victory Elixir, but Victory is easier to find right now and cheaper. In typical Paco Rabanne fashion, fragrance is strong. I mean, frankly, most of these are, but once again, good performance on this one. A lot of vanilla in here, kind of a sparkling opening, you know, effervescent almost, you know, like a caffeinated, kind of carbonated beverage. Some little similarities to other fragrances out there as well. You know, it's got some callbacks to other Paco Rabanne scents, like Pure Excess Night, which I like both of those. So there's a little tinge of that in here. Up next, we got the new Manse Red Intense Red Tobacco. It is an extrait de parfum. It is a Manse Red, so you already know it's strong. So this is a new flanker to their very popular release Red Tobacco, and you could go with that one as well. This one is smoother off the top than the original Red Tobacco. So this one is not as aggressively spicy and in your face. It is, to me, almost like if you took Red Tobacco and matured the fragrance a bit, you know, made it smell a little more grown up and put more of a smoothness to it and moved it slightly more towards smelling like Parfums de Marly Carlisle. It's kind of what this is like. It still has that Red Tobacco DNA right there in the forefront, but it does smell more sophisticated, more mature, while still having that compliment factor. Let's go with another Elixir, Boss Bottled Elixir. This is one of my favorite releases of the year. It's another one kind of like these guys over here that has a little bit of that throwback feel to it in terms of how it comes across, like a very masculine smelling scent profile. It doesn't try to go super sweet or anything like that. This one keeps it more spicy, woody, masculine. So you have a little frankincense in here, you have patchouli, you've got labdanum, just a fantastic release from Hugo Boss. Immediately kind of elevates the Boss Bottled line with that one coming out. Love this one. Like I said, one of the best of the year. Time for another fragrance that you really aren't gonna know about unless you're into fragrances. It is Chopard's Oud Malaki. This guy right here has a similar kind of note breakdown to Man in Black in the sense of when you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it's got everything in there that you look for when it's cold out. In a fragrance, I mean, in a fragrance. Oud, tobacco, spices, leather, additional woody notes. That's what you got going on here. Smells very, very high quality as well. And from discounters, you can usually pick it up for like 60 bucks. It has a little smokiness to it. It's very warm once again. It's rich, the projection is there, the longevity is there. Probably for younger guys, wouldn't appeal quite as much, but the quality that packs for the price point you can pick it up for is crazy. Then we got Oud for Greatness from Initio. This is a very popular scent, so it's one that you should probably know just in general because the way that one smells, a bunch of other fragrances that have come out after that one kind of have borrowed from it. So it's just good to know how that one smells so you know, like when you smell other stuff, like, oh, okay, Oud for Greatness again, cool. And it's not that this one is entirely unique in its scent profile as it is. I mean, it has been compared to Baccarat Rouge 540 to an extent, kind of like a woodier version of that. This is another one that has a ton of clones out there also. So if you like this one, but you don't want to pony up the price for it, there are a lot of clone fragrances out there that smell very close to this for a much lower price point, so do keep that in mind. And I feel like this is another decently easy to wear oud fragrance. So it's another one that could be a little bit of a stepping stone into some other more complex stuff down the road. In the home stretch, up next we got Tom Ford Ombre Leather. This is probably one of the easiest wearing, very high quality leather scents that you can buy. Leather fragrances, especially when you start getting into the more expensive ones, can be harsh. They can be a bit funky. They can be off-putting. Yeah, they can just be a hard thing to wrap your head around. This one, you don't have that issue. It, again, has a nice smoothness, kind of a creamy sweetness to it as well. The leather is rich, it's decadent, has a really nice floral kind of undertone to it that wraps everything up just like very delicately, but at the same time, it lasts a long time and it leaves enough of a scent trail that people can easily pick that up. There's a reason it is so popular, and that's because it is darn good, it stands out, and it's easily worn. Then we got Armani Oud Parfum. Now, that is not just a winter fragrance. That one, realistically, you could wear just about year round, and that's because it's actually much fresher off the top than you might expect. Because Armani Oud, the original, the OG Eau de Toilette, that one for a really long time was known as like a great night out scent, you know, kind of something you would wear when you wanted something that projected, that could cut through the cold. And so you would think that the Parfum version of that is gonna be just like, you know, just strong and heavy and ultra powerful. But this has a nice freshness off the top. It's really clean as well. Little iris in there, like a touch of soapiness from it. Then as it dries down, you know, it gets some of the familiar things from Armani Oud that kind of poke out. So it becomes a scent that in wintertime or fall is great day or night, you know? Again, you look at it, all blacked out bottle, Oud Parfum, you're thinking evening only, but nah, this stuff, you can wear about any time. Follow that one up with Ferragamo Spicy Leather. Now, this is great. The only issue with it is you're probably gonna have to pay retail for it. I bought my bottle from Fragrance Buy when they got it in stock. I think it was their second restock. Like, I think I missed it the first time, but I don't even know that they've gotten it in since then. Maybe they have, but they only get like 5 or 10 bottles or something because it is perpetually sold out. Now, it's not insanely expensive at retail. I think it's $112. I could be wrong there, but with how expensive some stuff is coming out nowadays, that's not that bad. So once again, another leather fragrance, leather at the forefront, but it is an easy wearing leather. The spice in here is very well done, sweet, appealing, easygoing. You know, it has a little bit of that almost liveliness, that kind of jumpiness, where when you spray it on, it's not just like this heavy, fat fragrance laying on you, you know? So just an extremely well done scent. And unfortunately, not the easiest to get your hands on if you're looking to score a good deal. Then we got Jubi 25 Homage, just a classic, Jubilation 25. They do have a new one out, Jubilation 40, which is a much heavier extrait version of the fragrance, also pricier as well, but I would recommend just this guy, just the OG. I love to bust this one out from time to time. It's one of those fragrances, brings back a lot of memories because for a while, this was like the must own niche fragrance. Like, this was what you wanted. If you looked up opulent men's fragrance in the dictionary, it was Jubilation 25. Like, this is the stuff everybody wanted to rock when it got cold outside because it just made you smell like a king. The opening here is one of those openings where you just immediately know what it is. You can tell right away. It has this blackberry opening. Well, a lot of things in the opening, but blackberry is the thing that people really key in on. It has this tangy kind of sweetness, you know, almost like jam in a way, like blackberry jam. And then it has honey in there. It's got a Papanax, it's got woods, it's got spices, it's got florals, it's got everything. Just a magnificent scent. Jubilation 25 still today smells just as good as the first time that I smelled it. And last but not least, L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. Thankfully, much easier to find nowadays. It was a pain for quite a while, but now you can pick this up at discounters for a bit less than what you used to have to pony up for if you wanted this thing. It has almond, it has cherry, and it smells absolutely killer. I said that as if those are the only 2 notes that it has. There are way more. It's also got like tonka and leather and vanilla in there. It's got a citrus as well. But those are the things that people really remember from this one, is that cherry and the almond, that kind of creaminess that the L'Homme Ideal line has. It's another one that's going to appeal to almost everybody, but that most average people don't really know about. They're not wearing it, they don't own it. So it can be like a secret weapon of sorts. You know, it's one of those things that's gonna set you apart because that cherry note is really, really an attention grabber, a showstopper, and you don't have to worry about, I don't know, like this is one of my more unique scents, I don't know if it's gonna work. Nah, this stuff works everywhere. So there we go, kind of a marathon here, 25 fragrances. These right here, telling you, in fall and winter, this is just a killer lineup. You will be set for literally anything. I do not think you need to own this many, but you know, maybe 1 or 2 from these would be something that would work perfectly for you. So I would say, you know, any of these, if you ever have an opportunity to sample them and you haven't, do check them out. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I will see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. I'll see you guys later. That's not much. Oh, yeah, it looks like the bottle's trying to leak a little bit. Lame. I don't even know how that happened. There's like a tiny little itty bitty pinhole in the bottle there. Frig. Whoa! Oh no, I dropped it. Carpet. Thick carpet.